Welcome to our 2020 Business Leaders Breakfast, presented by BMO Harris Bank. Get ready. Our show is about to begin. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our 5th annual Business Leaders Breakfast. My name is Jason Ray. Pronouns are he, him, his. I'm honored to serve as the president and CEO for the Wisconsin LGBT Chamber of Commerce, and we are so thankful that you are spending a little bit of your morning with us today as we near the end of Pride Month. This event, our Business Leaders Breakfast, is one of my favorite events that we do as a chamber throughout the year. It actually started in Northeast Wisconsin, up in Appleton 5 years ago, and we started bringing business owners together to have conversations about what it means to be out in business, what it means to be a community leader. We've continued that event every year, growing it year after year. And this Pride season and this year, while we are unable to be together in person, we are thrilled to be able to still connect this way and not only reach folks in Northeast Wisconsin, but to reach folks across the state and even across the country and world to participate in our discussion and to be part of our growing movement at the Wisconsin LGBT Chamber to create change and build a stronger pro-fairness business community. We've got an exciting speaker today that I can't wait to bring on, but I have to start by saying a tremendous thank you to all of our chamber members for all of the support that they've given us, not only over the last few months as we've navigated COVID-19, but all the support that they have given us since we launched in September of 2012. We're nearing 700 members of the chamber, nearing more than 100 events a year, and we are committed to doing everything that we can to continue to support you and your business and really create the welcoming and inclusive Wisconsin that we all know. We hope you have your cup of coffee, that you're settled in. Feel free to enjoy your breakfast while you watch, but it's going to be a great, fun morning here. And we're just so thankful that you were willing to get up early. I know I'm not a morning person myself always, but we're thrilled to have you here with us. There is one member in particular, though, that I really want to call out and thank, and that's BMO Harris Bank, who is our presenting sponsor for this morning's event. BMO Harris Bank has been a wonderful partner in the chamber, one of our diamond members for a number of years, has always stepped up to the plate and really led the way when it comes to inclusion and diversity. So I'm pleased to introduce this morning Judd Snyder, president of BMO Harris Equipment Finance Company and senior executive for Southeast Wisconsin, to say a few words. I'll turn it over to Judd.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Judd Snyder. I lead BMO's equipment finance practice for the U.S., and I'm our senior executive for Southeast Wisconsin. I'm proud to be an ally to our LGBT community, and especially proud to work for an organization that gets it, a place that works hard to promote equality and fairness, regardless of who you are and who you choose to love. BMO Harris Bank has served as the presenting sponsor for the Wisconsin LGBT Chamber's Business Leaders Breakfast for the past 3 years. We know that this event helps bring together business owners and corporate professionals for conversations with community and business leaders. It's something that's core to us as a company, helping bring people together. BMO's been a member of the Wisconsin LGBT Chamber since 2013, currently serving as one of your diamond partners. We have a true commitment to diversity and inclusion in all forms. In 2019, BMO Harris Bank became the first issuer to implement the MasterCard True Name feature, enabling people to use their true first names on their personal debit and ATM cards without the requirement of a legal name change. This allows banking cards to reflect the true identities of many in the transgender and non-binary communities. As of last week, I'm proud to announce the True Name feature is also available on BMO Harris Bank consumer credit cards and small business debit and credit cards. We're excited to continue to evolve this program, and we're driven to find new ways to be inclusive for our customers and our communities. Thanks again to the Chamber for the great work you do every day. Have a great program and enjoy the webcast.
Well, thanks so much, Judd, for your support, and to BMO Harris Bank for truly leading the way when it comes to diversity and inclusion. We're so thankful to have you all as a member of the Chamber, and most importantly, as our presenting sponsor this morning for our Business Leaders Breakfast. Well, I'm really thrilled now to get to introduce someone very special. Our guest speaker this morning, Justin Nelson, is the co-founder and president of the National LGBT Chamber, NGLCC, which is the business voice for the LGBT community and the largest economic advocacy and business development organization in the world. NGLCC is the exclusive private sector certifying body for LGBT-owned businesses, in addition to over 50 LGBT affiliate chambers in the US, including right here in Wisconsin, representing America's 1.4 million LGBT business owners. NGLCC leads economic development opportunities for over a dozen international affiliates. Justin is the recipient of the 2016 Excellence Award by the U.S. Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce and the 2017 USBLN Global Disability Leadership Award for his work in building and leading cross-segment partnerships. He has also been named to the Global LGBT Power 100 by the UK's Guardian newspaper, Top 20 Leaders We Admire by Smart CEO magazine, and twice to the Out 100, just to name a few. Justin resides in Washington, D.C. and holds a BA from the University of Wyoming. Justin is a true champion for equality, someone that I am proud to call a friend. So please join me and give a warm Wisconsin welcome to Justin Nelson. Good morning, Justin.
Hey, Jason. Good morning, and thanks for the invitation to be here. Really pleased, and thanks for your work. What Jason may or may not always share is he wears many hats, and we're so proud to have Jason not only leading the chamber there in Wisconsin, but also working as our vice president of affiliate relations, keeping connected with the NGLCC's 50 plus affiliates around the country. So I don't know when you sleep, but I know you do because you're always on top of things the next day. So I just want to say thanks for your leadership and everything you do to impact and empower America's LGBT business community.
Well, thanks so much, Justin. We appreciate you joining us all the way from DC this morning. So let's just jump right in. I know we've got a limited time and we want to hear. So if you could share, I know we've talked to our members a little bit about it, but would love to hear a little brief history of kind of the NGLCC and kind of what its impact has been on building an inclusive community.
That's great. It goes back to when you and I first met, really, when you were living here in Washington, and my co-founder, Chance Mitchell, and I were, doing what any two, gay men in their 20s do. And that's, sitting around trying to figure out how we can make the world better, right? We were just looking at what was going on in the equality movement, and we found there to be lots of great social justice organizations doing a lot of great social justice work, but no one was talking about who we are as business people, as employers. Nobody had put an economic identity on our community. And while my friend Bob Whittick had been doing some groundbreaking work identifying who we were as a consumer spending power, we really didn't have anyone advocating on our behalf to help empower business owners and entrepreneurs. And something we firmly believe is you can't have true equality until you have economic equality, and you can't have economic equality until you have equity. And so I had spent several years up on Capitol Hill. My former boss wanted to know, what does the U.S. Chamber think? What does the U.S. Hispanic Chamber think? And what does the National Federation of Independent Business think? And why the Hispanic Chamber? Because they had given an economic identity to the Hispanic community. We didn't have that. And so we set out to create an organization, first and foremost, one that we would want to belong to. So inclusivity was a must. We wanted to make sure that this was an organization for everyone, not just the chosen few. And so that's what we set out to create. And I can tell you that now, nearly 2 decades, we're 18 years old in November, nearly 300 corporate partners later, 50 affiliates in the US, of which when we started, there were under 20. So we've had a great hand in helping start and grow local chambers. And now we're in 18 countries, having launched earlier this year in the UK and in Japan. So lots of exciting work there. And the reality is that we now have an organization that not only helps empower and scale businesses, but we're able to talk about nuts and bolts economic issues and what we as LGBT people put back into the economy as business owners.
What do you think, Justin, has been the most surprising thing in that kind of 18-year journey that you have come across as you built this organization and you work towards inclusion? Has there been anything that has surprised you along the way or made you kind of think, oh, I didn't think of that?
I'm trying not to think about the current occupant of 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. That's probably the biggest shock that I've had in 18 years. Sure. But I really think it goes back almost to the beginning when we look at which companies got involved early and aggressively. And for those of you on the webcast here that don't know about our backbone program, it's certification and supplier diversity. So we help LGBT-owned companies get into the diverse supply chain with America's top corporations and multinationals. The financial services industry is well known for being risk adverse and a little bit on the conservative side of the equation. They were some of our first, strongest, and longest partners. And I think really, if you look at policy, at employee policy, HR policies, policies of inclusion, really some of the oldest financial services institutions have had some of the most innovative and groundbreaking work along the way. So I think that was somewhat surprising. And then I think the other thing was those that you thought were going to be there, that were those that, oh yeah, we're going to go into this meeting, it's going to be a no-brainer, they're going to support us. Sure. We had to pick ourselves up off the floor more than once, dust ourselves off and get back in the game. Sometimes those that you think you're going to be your biggest advocates and allies turn out to be, either non-committal or frankly, sometimes your detractors.
Now, you mentioned the LGBT certification in there, and as one of the kind of the core services and products of the NGLCC. We've been working here in Wisconsin to get more of our businesses certified. We've seen, especially during COVID-19, a number of businesses who have begun the process because it's been something they put off, but now as they're looking to kind of pivot their business, they're seeing this as an opportunity. Why is the certification so important?
Well, I think the first thing to note is that it doesn't mean you're certified and tomorrow the semi-truck shows up out front with a trailer full of contracts to sign. It really is an arrow in your quill. It is a tool. But the reality is so many businesses, small businesses, and then when you further segment it to diverse businesses, don't even have a chance to get to the starting line. They're lost in the noise. And so certification is a differentiator. It is a process that by which you have established you are at least 51% owned, operated, and controlled by an LGBT person or persons. And these nearly 300 corporations and now 15 communities and states around the country want to do business with LGBT-owned companies, not despite the fact that they're LGBT, but because of it. But without certification and without the network, they can't find the businesses. And so this is really a network. And I think the other important thing to mention about it, a company may never work with IBM or Google or BMO Harris, which I might add, I meant to say this at the top, thanks to BMO Harris, not only for your work in Wisconsin, but your work with so many of our chambers, both in the US and globally. And we're very proud that a BMO Harris team member that heads up the supplier diversity program there, Carol Atack, chairs our board. So thanks to BMO Harris. But back to my point, that companies may never get a chance to work with those corporations, but they can work with one another. We see such an amazing connection between business owners, and not just across town, but across the country or now even around the globe. So it really is access and entree to a network of potential customers, clients, and collaborators that you previously would not have had.
That's awesome. I think it really is about that connection and working together. And that's one of the things that I'm curious about from your perspective. You've been in this movement and helping lead the way. We are in an interesting and challenging time in our country right now. What do you think the business community, particularly the LGBT business community, can really do to help, frankly, fight racism in our country and to really pave the way for full equality for all people?
Well, I'm going to take it back to my point about you can't have equality if you don't have economic equality, and you can't have economic equality if you don't have equity. we have to focus on the equity piece. And the realization or the reality is I'm an imperfect messenger on this. I'm a cisgender white gay man. I'm very aware of my white privilege and my male privilege. I can be an ally, and I am committed to that. And I'm committed to NGLCC being an ally. We've been working on these issues, not just the last 4 months or 4 weeks, but the last 4 years. Was that soon enough? Absolutely not. But you've got to start somewhere. And you can't be pro-LGBT and not be anti-racism. Let's go back 51 years. It was trans, Black, and brown women that ignited our LGBT equality movement by standing up to police brutality at the Stonewall Inn. And it has been Black and brown trans women and LGBT people that have marched in lockstep ever since. And it is by far long past our time to be the allies that we have so graciously had on our side in the LGBT community. We wouldn't be here having this conversation if it weren't for people that were allies to the LGBT community. It is time, and we are doing it. And I think, people are rallying, and not just marginalized, diverse communities. People are rallying. I grew up in Wyoming. I know people that are rallying, and it is by far one of the least diverse states in the nation. But they're sick of this, and the idea that people shouldn't be treated equally or humanely just for the sheer fact of being a human being is beyond my comprehension. So I think we have to not just be here now that the cameras are on or that the lights are on or the microphones are near, but we have to be there every single day. We've created a Communities of Color initiative. We launched it last year at our conference. We're continuing to do programming on that. Coming up next month, we're doing what I think will be hopefully an invigorating and a somewhat uncomfortable conversation around white privilege. These are things that we need to hear and we need to learn. And so I think one of the best things we can do is, and I know this is the wrong way to exhibit it, doing an event like this, but it's to talk less and listen more, and then find out what we can do to be great allies. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
That's great. The other thing that I've always been impressed with NGLCC and the work that you're doing is building and bringing communities together. And one of those is the National Business Inclusion Consortium, which really has been a way to connect some of the national diverse chambers together. Could you talk a little bit more about, the NBIC?
Absolutely. I appreciate that question. It has long been a passion of ours. The reality is not every LGBT person looks like you or me. In fact, we are men and women, transgender, non-binary. We are Black, Hispanic, Caucasian, Asian. We're Arab Americans. We're Christians and Muslims and Hindus and Buddhists. We are a slice of the population at large. And so to think that we should not be reaching out, our struggles are their struggles and their struggles are ours. And we share so many shared stakeholders that happen to be a woman of color that's a veteran who is a lesbian, and so working across diverse segments like we do in the National Business Inclusion Consortium to team up on issues of public policy and procurement and other policy is widely important, because you're not just getting the LGBT community's thoughts on an issue. You're getting this broad group of diverse communities that have come together to say, hey, this is a policy we want to champion, or no, this is harmful to all of us, or to some of us, which is harmful to all of us. And so we started this now 9 years ago. It was 2011, with the idea of just bringing together diverse communities across segments. And it's been wildly successful. We're doing more than we ever have. And I think really having an impact weighing in as diverse communities together.
That's remarkable. And I think a really important thing, we in Wisconsin have been working called our Ethnic and Diverse Business Coalition for about 5 years. We've been a part of that organization, working with all the diverse chambers here in the state on how do we come together. And particularly right now, how do we come together to support some of our small businesses that are struggling financially and that have been through because of COVID-19. What has NGLCC done or implemented to really help businesses, particularly LGBT-owned businesses, during this, this period here?
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the greatest double-edged swords of the COVID era. Almost immediately, we convened a call with the SBA. We had nearly 1,000 businesses from across the country that participated in that. What happened afterward was absolutely a mixed bag. I mean, I think to say that Washington didn't have its ducks in a row on the original funding for PPP would be the understatement of the maybe the year. We had a lot of businesses, and we heard about them, and we relayed that not only to SBA, but we relayed it to the House Small Business Committee, of which we work very closely with Chairwoman Velasquez, that there were real challenges for small businesses and a lot of micro or solopreneurs that don't have long and extensive relationships with their bank. So they were leapfrogged or left to the side in that initial round of funding. We do know there were some success stories. We went back, we advocated and championed for more funding, not only to the COVID relief, but to economic disaster relief, which had a little bit additional money. I think we got about $68 billion more in funding for disaster relief, which a number of businesses were able to access a little bit easier than they were the PPP. Now, the difference there is PPP largely, if you follow most of the rules, is forgivable. There is some work underway right now for disaster relief loans to meet a similar end. We're obviously championing that. Trying to educate as best we can and create as many opportunities for connection as possible is a huge part of what we're doing without giving virtual conference overload. You know, you can't just take everything you were going to do, plop it on the computer, and expect people to sit there for hours upon hours, day after day. And so being very strategic about introductions and connections. We've ramped up our work in our engagement center. We're planning a whole series of matchmaking activities between corporations and businesses, state and local governments, and our certified suppliers. So just trying to get as many opportunities for folks to still look at connecting and finding business opportunity there is key. And a couple other things that we were going to do anyway. We launched our Accelerate program in partnership with Wells Fargo and Dell earlier this month, and that is our own in-house executive education program. So if you're a certified supplier, you're able to apply to be a part of this program, and it is all designed around helping business owners become better leaders around sustainability and around building their capacity so they can grow their enterprise. And then it's even working with local and state affiliates. One of the things that we've been adamant about is allowing for PPP and economic relief to flow to C6 organizations. For you to have strong businesses in Wisconsin, you need to be strong as the LGBT chamber. So you need to have access to those resources too. And those are just a few of the things that we're doing.
Thanks so much for sharing. For those just joining us, we're talking with Justin Nelson, co-founder and president of the National LGBT Chamber. Feel free to drop your comments and questions in the comment box if you're watching along on Facebook. We'll try to get to some of those. Justin, what has been, probably the most challenging and maybe the most rewarding part of being an out leader?
I think the most rewarding thing is when you see success, and you can define that a lot of different ways. It can be in someone getting a contract. It can be in someone finally feeling comfortable in their own skin and realizing that being out and proud as a person and a business owner doesn't mean the end of the life of your business. In fact, it can mean even bigger and brighter things. I think that's exciting. I really think right now the thing that is most frustrating is you can't do enough. You know, there's so much going on out there, just with the horror stories you hear about businesses having to close up shop. And the reality is not everyone's going to make it through. That's just the cold, hard truth. And that is really tough. And then we've been talking about the scourge of racism and racial violence for several years. It's still there, and it's disgusting. And sometimes I feel as though I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else I can do. And so I think just by opening ourselves up to dialogue and hearing from members of the Black community embracing Black Lives Matter, saying Black Lives Matter, is a step towards opening ourselves up to being better advocates and actually seeing this change that is underway become entrenched in how we move forward. So it's a little bit of a windy road, but I would say the successes and challenges are pretty much laid out in those two buckets.
I think, we agree completely here. And, it's one of our challenges. We know that we all need to do more as LGBT chambers to really build inclusivity and be fully inclusive of all members of our community, and that's standing up for our Black and Brown brothers and sisters and being advocates for full inclusion for everyone. So thank you for voicing that, and thank you for your leadership on the national level to make sure that happens. If you had to give a piece of advice to business owners, particularly right now, what advice might you give them?
I would say now is actually a really great time to redefine. I don't want to use the word pivot. It's so overused. I mean, I'm sick of it. Let's get it out of the vocabulary. But it is an opportunity to take a look at your business model, find out what's antiquated, and look at different ways of doing business. I think those businesses that are going to outlast COVID and thrive post-COVID are those that are taking time right now to do inventory on what they offer and how they offer it. And so I would say take a good look. You might be the most amazing entrepreneur and you might know how to do, your craft better than anyone in a 5-state region. But if people aren't buying it, it doesn't matter. So take your entrepreneurial skills and look at what people are buying. Go to where the market demand is, or take a look at where it isn't yet, but probably is going. Find opportunities in crisis. There are a plethora of opportunities, and people that are thinking creatively right now during the COVID crisis and coming up with solutions that people don't know they need yet, they're the ones that are going to be successful on the other side of this. So I'd say just lose sight of shore a little bit. Get out in the water and just test some things out. You've got time right now.
I love that. And I know that we've seen several of our businesses doing that, and I think it's inspiring to see, and I think it's a great thing. And I also hope that, we will see a number of our businesses. If you are a certifiable business here in Wisconsin, we encourage you to get certified. We need you to get certified and to be part of this larger growing movement. We obviously encourage you all to join the chamber, whether you are certifiable or not. But if you have a chance, you're 51% LGBT owned and operated and managed, get certified. Be a part of this national movement for inclusion in, procurement, supplier diversity.
Yeah, that's great, Jason. I couldn't echo that more strongly. And for those that aren't 51% owned, you still have the opportunity to partner, become a supplier to some of those businesses that are certified or vice versa. You can still play a part in this economic wheel that's driving our economy forward.
Absolutely. Justin, so we always like to end our business leaders breakfast. We've got just a few minutes left here. Not just talking about what a business owner is doing, but getting a little personal on it, if you don't mind. So we're curious, what kind of keeps you up at night right now?
Well, I've been out at my cabin in West Virginia, so storms have kept me up at night. It's that time of the year, and when the electricity goes out, so does the air conditioner. So that's I honestly, I think the state of affairs in this country, and we try, and we will be making some exciting news in the next 10 days. We are nonpartisan, but we do make political endorsements, and you have to be political when you want to move the right kinds of policy. So I would say that the state of affairs right now, I've been in Washington 27 years. I've never been more disgusted with the entire place. And if we don't do something in this next election to wake up, make change, and get the people united and moving forward together, or at least a slim majority or plurality,
sure,
you're in deep trouble. And that keeps me up at night.
Thank you for sharing. We've got just a couple rapid fire questions for you. What are you binge watching right now?
I just watched Love, Victor.
Okay.
It was phenomenal. There's a Taboo with Tom Hardy, which is spectacular. And then I just started not Machiavelli, Medici.
Very good.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to choose another career path, what would you be doing?
I'd own a bar on a beach somewhere in the Caribbean.
We all think we'd do that if we could. And finally, you've been to Wisconsin a couple of times. What's your favorite thing about Wisconsin?
I think, and the state is wonderful, so I'm not picking a favorite city here. I think Milwaukee is one of the most underappreciated cities in our country. It is beautiful. The green space, the river, just the public space. It's spectacular. And I am so bummed that we've scaled back the convention because I was really looking forward to that. So I look forward to coming back and even getting around the state more than I have previously. But I think my favorite thing is probably a good visit to Milwaukee.
That's awesome. We will welcome you back to Milwaukee and take you around the state anytime you want. Justin, thanks so much for joining us. We want to see if there's any last words that you have for us before we wrap up this portion of our Business Leaders Breakfast.
Well, I just want to say thank you. And, I know it's a tough time right now for a lot of folks. We're hurting from COVID. We're hurting from the economy. We're hurting from racism and racial violence. But what you have in the Wisconsin Chamber and the larger network is something that is really special. And what you have in Jason as a leader is something that's really special. So when you're frustrated, when you're feeling, sort of caught in the corner, think about that. It is the most rewarding thing to watch. And I've been able to do a lot. I was telling Jason a lot of these this month. And the camaraderie that you just sense is amazing. So don't lose sight of that. Reach out. Don't sit there in the dark or feel further marginalized. You have a community of people through the Wisconsin Chamber and through now the national network that are here to help and genuinely care about you, your well-being, and your business. So that's what I'd leave you with. And obviously, happy Pride.
Well, thank you so much, Justin. We so appreciate you taking some time to be with us this morning. And thank you for your leadership. We're proud to call you a friend and a colleague in this movement for full equality, for full economic equality. So thanks, Justin.
Ditto. Thank you.
Well, thanks again, everyone, for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed our Business Leaders Breakfast. We're coming to the close here of our program. I know one of the elements of our events, especially this event, that we hear business owners love the most is the opportunity to connect together and to make relationships. So for those that are interested, following this event at 9:15, you can register and join us on Zoom for some networking, an opportunity to make connections. We don't want to just be talking at you, so hope that those who are interested might join us afterwards for some post-event networking. There is the website on the screen to register. It's just wislgbtchamber.com/networking. So feel free to go and register and join us for that. We've got a number of other upcoming events we hope that we will see you at. Next Tuesday is our virtual career fair, our virtual LGBT and Allies career fair, taking place from 12 to 3 online. More information is on our website. We've also announced our events for July, including our Chamber on Tap evening happy hour and our coffee connection. We're working to provide as many ways as possible for you as business owners to connect. But most importantly, thank you for the work that you are all doing each and every day. We so appreciate having you as a part of this chamber and hope to see you again soon. A tremendous thank you to BMO Harris Bank for serving as this morning's presenting sponsor for our 5th annual Business Leaders Breakfast. And before we end the program today, we have a special video, and accept our grace as we try to get this all queued up here. We are learning as we go on technology, but have a special video featuring some of our members wishing folks a happy Pride.
Hi, I'm Cecilia Gore from Brewers Community Foundation. Just wanted to stop by and wish you a happy Pride Month. Enjoy.
Hi, I'm Kate LaRock with Wisconsin Public Radio, wishing you happy Pride.
Gruber Law Offices is proud to join you in celebrating Pride this year. From the entire team at Manpower Group, we're standing with you and celebrating Pride together. Happy Pride. Even though we can't be together this Pride Month, on behalf of the Wisconsin LGBT Chamber and all of our members, we're thinking of you and can't wait to be together again soon. Happy Pride.